And the two go hand in hand, because now you have to feed all of these cattle and livestock all over the world. And you have, in China, people want a middle-class lifestyle just like the U.S. And one of the status symbols of that is being able to eat meat. And in order to feed all that livestock, you have to have the soy meal. So the two are sort of acting in conjunction. And so agribusiness is very politically influential in Brazil. I personally think that inevitably, when you have a reducing emissions through deforestation scheme, I do believe that will go through eventually. This is the scheme that's been discussed in Copenhagen and these climate summits. And when you do have that, you may have to sit down at the table with some of these politically influential actors, like the cattle ranchers and the soybean planters, and try to work out, an alternative scenario for the Amazon. But it's going to require a lot of money from the affluent countries, the United States and Europe, to the tune, I would say, of tens of billions of dollars to give them an incentive to not pursue reckless agribusiness, to pursue other pursuits.
But doesn't that run up against still the level of impunity or lawlessness that still exists in the region, where it's not just Chico Mendes? Periodically we hear of environmental advocates there beaten or killed, and that there seems to be no ability of the government to stop this kind of lawlessness? Right.
I think you've hit on one of the key ironies, because even as Brazil tries to present itself as this modern country that's had fantastic economic growth rates, it's going to host the Olympics and so on, you have just vigilante justice and these pistolero hired gangs that go out and kill people like Dorothy Stang, a U.S. nun who was trying to defend the rainforest several years ago. I think that it's a very complex problem. I think that any solution is going to have to take into account the indigenous people. They're going to have to form a part of these negotiations in the reducing emissions through deforestation scheme. They're going to have to be more incorporated than they have been. I think governance is going to be an issue. That may be an internal problem, but I think together the United States and Brazil are going to have to get together. We're going to have to provide the financial resources and then hammer out all these issues to provide social justice and environmental protection simultaneously.
Finally, we just have a minute. I wanted to get your take on the Bolivia Climate Summit that's being convened by President Evo Morales, that Democracy Now! Will be broadcasting from all next week, and also Defense Secretary Robert Gates continuing to visit Latin American militaries, just most recently in Colombia.
Well, I certainly applaud the Alternative Climate Summit in Cochabamba. I think it's a step in the right direction. And certainly, given that Copenhagen, according to many, didn't live up to its promises, I think that is what is needed. I think Evo Morales has been a slight Johnny-come-lately to the environment. I think, despite his rhetoric, his progressive rhetoric, he's been a classic economic nationalist, and he wants to export raw materials such as, and there's been a lot of talk about the lithium deposits now in Bolivia. But that said, better late than never.
We have 10 seconds.
Oh, and I think, but he also has got to take on this contradiction of the coca leaf, which is also leading towards deforestation. It's an anti-imperialist symbol for him, but I think that if he extends coca cultivation, it has to be done under environmentally suitable criteria.
Nick Kozloff, I want to thank you for being with us. Congratulations on your new book, No Rain in the Amazon: How South America's Climate Change Affects the Entire Planet. Today at 4 o'clock, I'll be in Baltimore at University of Maryland School of Social Work speaking. Anyone can come. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Will be in Bolivia all next week. Stay with us.